Hey YouTube, today we're going to be comparing a couple different types of revolvers. And before we get started, I'm going to let you know none of these revolvers here on this table have anything in them, and we are clear to make this video. So what is the subject for today? One of the subjects that I often get asked about all the time is which one do I like better and which one is quote unquote better, a Colt revolver or a Smith & Wesson revolver. So I have a couple cool examples here on this table. Then I'm going to show you a couple differences here and things you should probably look for before you consider purchasing a revolver. So this is mainly going to be Colt versus Smiths, and I have on the right here I have a couple of older Colt Pythons, and on the left here I have a Smith & Wesson 686 and a Smith & Wesson 586. They are almost identical counterparts, and they're respected manufacturers. So a lot of people with these two types, these two brands revolvers, they follow these things like a cult. You know, they just absolutely love either one of them and hate the other one, or vice versa. Now me, on the other hand, I'm not that way. I like them both, and I see advantages and disadvantages to each one of them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the differences, some of the subtle differences, some of the big differences, and I'll let you decide on which ones you think are the best. So both of these revolvers on each ones are chambered in .357 Magnum, and we're going to start off with the Colt. So what we have here is a 1980s Colt Python. This is a bright stainless. I'll show you really close up some of the close-ups of it, and this is chambered in .357 Magnum. This particular one happens to be manufactured in 1984, and this was their they called it the ultimate stainless or bright stainless. Now the thing about the Colt Python is that when this thing came out, Colt's revolvers were, you know, kind of looking a little dated and stuff like that, and they decided to do a massive upgrade when they came out with this thing, and they put on it a ventilated rib on top, which is what the Colt Python's known for, and a full underlug, and this is built on what they call the I-frame. Now this thing is absolutely gorgeous, folks. I mean, this is probably, if there's anybody that's in the firearms, I don't care what you like, if you look at this gun and you say it doesn't look good, you probably have something wrong with you. But what are some of the features of it? So it's a double action, single action gun, and this gun is hand fit, folks. It was hand fit in a shop of gunsmiths that were specially trained in order to file and fit things so they work smooth. And when you pull the action back on this, you can tell it is absolutely so smooth when you pull these actions back. Now if you'll notice on the Colt revolver, it actually rotates clockwise on that, and that's important to know when we start comparing them. And when you open this thing up, you'll see that I have to pull on the cylinder latch to release a Colt revolver. Now we're going to compare it to its direct, you know, counterpart in Smith & Wesson, and this is a Smith & Wesson no dash 686. This was produced in 1980 or 81 or something like that, I believe. It was one of the first ones, and it is also a double action revolver, so it'll go off when you pull the trigger, or you can cock it. Now some of the differences in a Smith & Wesson revolver: this gun was made directly to compete with that Colt Python here, so it also has a full underlug underneath. It's a little bit bigger than the K-frame that was made before this one. It's almost the exact same size as the Colt Python. Now some of the differences you'll notice is it doesn't have that ventilated rib on top, it doesn't have the mirror finish on it, and there will be a couple other differences here. Now you'll notice when I cock this hammer, it rotates counterclockwise, and that's a Smith & Wesson thing. One of the things you'll notice about a Smith & Wesson is if you'll look real close down here in this underlug, there's a detent here, and this thing has a double lockup capability, so it locks up front and it locks on the bottom of the cylinder when the revolver goes into full lock. On the Colt here, you'll notice It does not have that. There's only one area of locking up on them. So which one do I think is better? I think they're both have their advantages and disadvantages. Now, when you pick this Colt up, it's obviously going to have more refined looks. If you'll look down to the ends of the cylinder here, is so much more finer finish, and there is no rough edges or anything here on the sides of the cylinder or around the barrel or anywhere on this lug. On the Smith & Wesson, it's not quite as well finished off. You'll notice it's just a little squared off here, but it's still a great revolver, still 100%. Now, the biggest difference you notice with the Colt is the smooth action and the trigger on this thing. So the double action trigger is just so smooth, it's very light, and the single action is just very light. But this action, when you pull it back, there is no mistaking a Colt Python when you do that. So with the Smith & Wesson, it's a little bit rockier when you pull it back. Now, we're going to make a disclaimer here. This gun has had some work done to it. I mean, it has. And when you pull on this double action trigger, it is probably one of the best ones in my collection, to be honest with you. But there's been some work done to it to make it do that. Now, before we get too far deep into which one works better and all that, we're going to compare the blued versions of it. And what we have here, this is a Smith & Wesson 586-4. I'm going to show you this not loaded, and you'll look at this blue finish on this thing. It is very deep, dark, and it is a gorgeous gun. I'll show you the other side of it. 586. So the 586 is identical to the one I just showed you, except for it's a carbon steel blued finish, and they did a really good job. I'm going to try and show you out here in this light the finish on this. Same features as the other ones, you know, the action rotates counterclockwise, and it's also had an action job done to it, so it's very, very good action on this. Now, the granddaddy of them all here is the Colt Python. This one has to be made in 1970. I'll show you that it's not loaded, and there is no better finish than these older Colt Pythons, folks. I know they just released the newer blued steel ones, and they are not the same, folks. This finish on this thing, there is no way that I can make this show you how beautiful this finish is on camera. This is one of the things you have to see in person, and this is the original finish that they had on the Pythons when they came out in 1955, and this thing absolutely looks like it is wet. When you look at it, it's just unbelievable the amount of polish work that went into this. And this is one of the differences, and this is the polish work that went into this in order to get this finish on it. It's unbelievable. One man, the amount of polishing he had. I'm going to show you this one again up close and show you that it's not a bad blue finish. I mean, it is absolutely stunning also, but it does not compare to that royal blue finish that Colt put on them back in the day when they made these finished Pythons. Now, what are some of the advantages and disadvantages? The obvious advantage over the Smith is going to be the cost. Now, depending on what you buy and what variation of the Python you buy, it's usually, and these are all vintage ones here, we're not talking about anything new. You can usually buy about 3 of these for the price of one of the Colts, and that is a significant difference. So when you buy one of these, the actions aren't even going to compare close to these Colts over here. It's not even going to be close. You shouldn't even have a conversation about which one's better out of the box. But if you buy one of these little gems and you take it to a gunsmith and you have a little action work done on it and a trigger job on it, now you have a gun that actually is in the same caliber as this Colt over here. And the cost of that action job is nowhere near the cost of buying one of these Colt Pythons. Now, why are the Colts so expensive? Well, it's the handwork that went into them, the polish work, and the actual looks alone. In order for these things to look that good, there was a man in there that's very trained at polishing and hand fitting stuff together, and labor is not cheap, folks. I'm sure you know that. Nobody wants to work for nothing. Nobody wants to work for cheap, and when you have a very highly skilled job like that, you are going to get paid well to do it, and that's why the price of these Colts were so more expensive. They were about double when they were brand new. Comparing side to side, it costs about double to buy a Colt Python than it did a Smith & Wesson 686 or 586. And if you look at them like this and you know nothing about firearms, most people would say which one's the cheapest, and that's the one I'm going to buy. Well, they just don't know the differences in hand fitting stuff and putting stuff together. Now we're going to show you a couple of the other things. If you look at this 586 here, you'll notice it's got a color case hardened trigger on it, and it's got a color case hardened hammer on it. And on the Colt, the trigger is perfectly blued on it, and on the actual hammer itself, the end of it's blued, and this is all polished to a mirror. So it's just little differences in details that you pay attention to. Now we're going to talk about mechanics. Which one shoots better? Well, folks, to be honest with you, if you take either one of these two firearms and put it in the average person's hand, you're not going to see any difference in them. It's just not going to be. You're going to notice the action in the Colt's going to be a little bit smoother if you're shooting in single action. When you're pulling back these hammers on this thing, there's definitely a difference here. But in the shootability of them and the accuracy, you're not going to see a lot of difference. Looks wise, 100% the Colt's going to take it all day long. There's not going to be one person walking around that's going to say that these two guns look better than these two guns. Almost everybody walking around is going to look at that and say, wow, that is a gorgeous gun, just because of the finish work, the polish work, and all that. I mean, even the stainless steel ones, I mean, this looks like a nickel finished gun, and it is not, folks. That is polished stainless steel, and Smith & Wesson never offered a mirror finish gun, so it's just more of a matte finish, and it's still a really sexy looking gun in my opinion. Now, when you're shooting Smiths or Colts, you always got to remember that when you train with something, things become intuitive to you when you're working like the controls on them. So when you're shooting a Colt and you empty the chamber, you're going to have to change your grip, pull back on the cylinder, and empty it when you want to empty the cylinder on a Colt Python. Now, all Colts, you know, you pull on this latch in order to release it. With the Smith, when you empty the rounds out of it, you just push on the cylinder and then do it and release it. And a lot of people think that's more intuitive to push on them than to change your grip and release it like that. Now, it all depends on what you train with, folks, and I've shot a lot more rounds out of Colt revolvers than I have Smith & Wesson revolvers. And even when I'm shooting a Smith & Wesson, when I shoot it and I'm done, I always want to sit there and pull on it because I'm so used to the Colt having to pull back on it. It's just something you learn. It's muscle memory, and it's just one of them things. I always pull back on it because I've shot a lot more rounds out of a Colt. Now, longevity, you know, durability. Which one's better? Now, there is a ton of rumors out there on the internet about these Colt Pythons, these older Colt Pythons, about them going out of time and stuff, and they say you can shoot heavy loads in these Smiths all day long, and that will never happen. Now, folks, I don't know how much validity there is to these rumors because, I mean, these guns are both very old and they're still in perfect time, and I've shot heavy loads through them, shot light loads through them. Same with these. I've never had a problem with the timing on a Colt Python, and to be honest with you, when you read something on the internet, it just goes viral and things really start spreading around. I'm not saying that one's never going out of time, but I'm also not saying there's one of these never going out of time. It's just one of those things, folks, that you have to understand when you're reading stuff on the internet. It's not always necessarily true, but so when it comes down to it, which one do I like better? I mean, it would almost be a coin toss, but I'm always pretty much going to favor the Colts because I've just always been a Colt guy, and I just think the Colt Python is a stunning looking handgun. taking nothing away from the Smiths, I just don't think that the attention to detail was paid making these as they were these. Now, what are some of the disadvantages to the Colt? It's obviously going to be the high price you have to pay for them. You're going to have to pay a lot more, and if you just want something to go out and shoot and you want a really good action, you can buy one of these for a third of the price, have an action job done on it, and you are going to be able to keep up with any Colt Python. It's going to feel just as good. Now, when you pull it back, that smoothness isn't quite there like with the Colt, and it's a different feel, but folks, it is a great gun when you have a little action work done to them. Out of the box, if you just buy one, the Colt blows it away every single time. But I wanted to show you a couple things to look for when you buy a revolver. You know, you got to think about, why are you buying it? Are you buying it for shootability? Are you buying it for, you know, whether things are intuitive with the controls? Are you buying it just for collectability? What are you buying it for? And there's a lot of ifs out there when you're buying different firearms, but these are two of the very best on the market, the Smith & Wesson and the Colt Python, and they make both of these guns still today. They didn't make these for a long time. They never stopped making these. And these have come back out, and they're a little bit different than these older ones, but they are still excellent guns. They still cost a little bit more than the Smith & Wesson, but same differences in them, folks, when you look at the newer ones. And I don't have two of a new Python and a new Smith to sit here and show side by side today, but anyway, folks, let me know what you think. Which one of these do you prefer? These older vintage Smith & Wessons or these older vintage Colt Pythons? Let me know what you think, and thank you very much for watching my video today, and you folks have a great day.